Now we're coming in hot. There we go. What's up, guys?
What's up?
It's another beautiful sunny day or wintry day, wherever you're located. Thanks for joining us. This time we're streaming in lots of different channels, so thanks for joining us wherever you're joining us from. And today we're going to be talking to Jacob and Mark about some habits. And this is Mark's creation. Mark's going to be coaching us today. Mark,
Yay!
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Let us know what city and state you're from, what country. When I say country, we've got only like 5 different countries. Jacob, thank you for telling me you're in Malibu. I appreciate that. I didn't know.
While people are typing it, I heard a thing the other day that Africa is like splitting in half.
What?
While Mark is prepping, yeah, they had like I think it's like I don't even remember how long, but it's like a 50-foot deep crevice that's like coming through Kenya. I don't know.
Send me that article.
I'll send it to you. I've been reading about it all day.
I love it. All right. Thank you for that. Mark's from at my house upstairs. What's up, Mark?
Tristan's house, California. It's on the map, bro. It's actually being separated.
It's apparently, Jacob, there's a crack happening in my house.
There is.
Just messing. Now we're just messing with Jacob. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Mark,
I'm texting you this link right now.
Mark, let's go, buddy. Let's what do you have for us today with this on this special day?
Let's roll. Okay, so I want to go over 5 habits that you are all going to be doing now. And if you are already doing some of these, amazing. Don't tune out because there's some good stuff in here for everyone. Let's just go ahead and jump in. Number 1, for the first habit that I think is overlooked. It's talked about a lot, but I think it's overlooked, is writing out your vision and setting your goals. That might sound super cliche, so I want to start with asking you this. I want you to ask yourself 3 questions. It's actually a few more than 3. So I'm gonna start with you, Tristan. When you're setting out like your vision and your goals, I mean, I know like there's some of us who want to sell like 50 homes in a year, 30 homes in a year, 10 homes in a year. I want to make $100,000 GCI, 250, $1 million, whatever it is, right? Whatever it is. But I want to start with you, Tristan. I want to ask you, like, what do you want across all the areas of your life? Like, what do you dream about, right? So there's things like there's health, there's finance, there's business, there's family, there's vacation, fun time. So like where do you see those areas in your life? You don't have to answer it now. Just things that I want everyone to
I'll tell you what I think of first. I think of Coach K. If you know Coach K, I don't even know how to pronounce his name, but Duke University basketball. He always talks about values. He always talks about there are a certain set of values that we operate with. And if you get the values part down before you set your goals and your vision and anything along those lines, they really help you in achieving your vision for your personal life, or family, and your business. Because at that point, you're just focusing on the core of how you function. It's like your operating system, right? So I'd say I would start with my values and identify, well, how do I normally function? Number 1. And number 2, how do I want to function? Who do I want to aspire to be like, right? So like, I know the good qualities that I have. Forget about the bad ones. What are the good qualities? And then what are some great qualities that I also want to have? So that's probably where I would start right there. And then I would hit, what's my vision? And how does it apply to self, family, and business?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think one thing that I have, for us today is like one thing that I want to focus on. One thing I tell, the coaching clients and tell people that are showing up here today is like you said, Tristan, what are your values, right? You as your own person. I'm asking everyone here. But then also taking it a step further is, what are the values of the people that are around you, that you surround yourself with, right? And if those don't match up, or if they're not a level above you, or they don't have values that you want to strive to be, it might be beneficial for you to kind of reassess who's in your inner circle. Like, for example, Tristan, one thing that I really value about you is like the time that you carve out for family, and also the time that you carve out for showing up every day in what you do. Like every day, you don't miss a beat, right? I value that. I think that's awesome.
Thanks.
Jacob, one thing I value about you is that you will literally take any prospect, doesn't matter who it is. It could be someone that sounds crazy, but you'll treat them as if they're someone from Forbes. That's already been
So
there.
true. That is so true.
I think
Mark.
those two values are, I'm just throwing things out, that.
No, that was a good point. Jacob does do that. Like right before you guys jumped in, Jacob's like, just to show you. Jacob's like, hey, Tristan, thanks for sending me the lead last night. I talked to him for 40 minutes. The guy's absolutely crazy, but I think he's got cash. Like, I think it's legit. And the thing is, even if it's real or not, Jacob approaches every conversation with his ability to look for the possibility of making a relationship. And I think that is something that I value in Jacob for sure. Good point, Mark. I like that you brought that up, man.
There you go. And then lastly, on writing these goals and these visions out, is I need us all to take note of what's holding you back from achieving those goals.
All right.
Because if you write down what holds you back, like for example, for me, let's say that you're asking me that question, like, hey, Mark, what's holding you back from having 8 conversations a day with sellers for 260 days out of the year in order to get 2,100 contacts, in order to have 20 listings, just listings this year? What's holding you back? And I could sit there and I could tell you, oh, scheduling, timing. No. It's me. The only person that's holding it back is me, and the scheduling of my day, my time, that I need 1.4 hours a day, 5 days a week, 260 days out of the year to call just sellers in order to meet that quota. So everyone in here should write down what's holding you back from achieving the goals that you are going to write down. Is it the lack of discipline? Is it the misconception that you don't have enough time? Well, then you need to create time, right? So I think that's really, really important, because all of these goals, things, and these achievements and these visions are beautiful and they're wonderful. But if you don't look at the people you surround yourself with, and also the potential objections that you'll have in your own schedule and your own selves, you're going to be left with a challenging approach on how to actually complete it. So I think that point is overlooked a lot.
Yeah, I didn't know you were going to go here. There's a study that has been, that's good. It's really good. I didn't know that. There's a study that has been going on for a little over 80 years or close to 80 years, one of those. And it was done by Harvard. It's called the Harvard Study of Adult Development. And they found that over the span of these decades, that the most important factor for your success are your relationships. So the relationships matter. Like, do you feel like you're purposeful? This is where relationships come in, right? How do you fit in to a community? So if you guys want to take a look at that later on, look it up. I think it's here. Let me see if I can find it. 85-year-old Harvard study. This isn't the actual study. It's a link to an article, but you can take a look at it there. Mark, that's exactly what you're talking about. This is very key. So thanks for bringing it up.
And then lastly, as far as like the execution of like the actual goal itself is, I think it's really, really, really important. I kind of just touched base on it when I talked about how many sellers I would need to talk to and how many hours I would need to prospect and who I would need to contact. So you need to divide your 12 months into each month, into each week, into each day. And you will be surprised at how attainable your goals are if you take it one size at a time. Tristan, let me ask you this. If your goal is to sell 50 homes in a year, which you did 1 year, right? I believe you have. You've done that before, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if I were to tell you, hey, Tristan, go out and sell 50 homes, it might sound like a pretty big goal, right? But if I were to break that down for you and do the math, and I said, hey, Tristan, I need you to go knock on 40 doors a day, which one sounds a bit more attainable?
40 doors a day, definitely, because you're giving me the smaller action steps.
Exactly. That leads you to that goal. So I think that's really important and also quite frankly overlooked in this industry and also in the whole like business planning and that segment of things. I think that's super crucial and important for us to take note of.
I love that, dude. I love it a lot.
Yeah.
I'm answering the question. This is playing on LinkedIn, multiple Facebook groups, YouTube, and Twitter. So I'm handling those right now. So
Yeah.
continue.
Number two, actually, I picked this one up off of Tristan, is journaling. Journaling your day. What's that planner, Tristan, that you got me? That it has
you're talking about the Full Focus Planner by Michael Hyatt. Full Focus Planner. So we've had him on Success Magazine a couple of times in articles. Let me grab that for you. And I'll put it into the chat so you have that. There it is, Full Focus Planner. That's the one we typically use for planning our days, just because it gives you the priorities, the identification for your priorities at the top, which I think is pretty good, Mark.
Very important. And that's like kind of the whole thing is like this kind of kickstarted me into doing this. And this was something that you actually recommended that I start. And it was like writing down like 3 main tasks for each day. And like, it was like the night before. Like, for example, today, my main task would be to contact the 8 sellers, do the coaching call on ABT, and then, whatever else, right?
Yeah.
I'm not talking about like a to-do list. I'm talking about like 3 main pillars that you want to hit. And then also like journal your thoughts and your ideas and your goals that come to mind at the end of the day, right? And then reflect on that and think about how you can grow from those things. Think about how you want to add those things to your business plan. They could just be journaling thoughts. I mean, you'd be surprised at how beneficial this is.
I am. Angie says, if journaling is intimidating, there's a 5-year journal where you only journal 5 lines. That is very true. I love that one. And that is one that I have as well. So very, very good point.
That's pretty cool. Is that how you started, Tristan, or did you just?
No, I actually started, I've been journaling on and off since high school, but it picked up where I'm almost doing it daily when I started using an app called Day One. And
that's cool.
It became, it was an app that came out in 2010, I think 2011. Let me put it into the chat. I feel like now we're going to just dump a whole bunch of junk in here. But
I want to jump on this real quick. Chuck said, journal at the end of day, not beginning, ? So Chuck, there's 2 things at play here. One, for me personally, I like to journal at the end of the day because that's when I have so much that has happened to me throughout the day that I can reflect on. And it's all very fresh. Now, the other thing at play, Chuck, I'm a big fan of morning routines. You win the morning, you win the day. If your morning routine is to journal in the morning, then I would tell you absolutely you journal in the morning. But I would also say it might be beneficial to you. Actually, it would be beneficial to you if you also were to journal at night as well and plan for the next day at night as well. So that way you can review what you journal in the morning, review what went throughout your day, and then also reflect. And you might actually see that they kind of coexist together. Number 3 is establishing healthy habits. Okay, so this one I see time and time again gets looked over in the real estate business, and that's healthy habits, right? We talk about a lot of habits about, cold calling and door knocking and client events and habits of prospecting. But what about your health? What about exercise, the food you eat? What about just general health goals, right? Do you go to the doctor every year? What are your healthy habits, right?
Jacob's like, no, I don't. No.
My point exactly. I mean, Jacob, you're like, 25 years old, but like eventually you're going to need to start going to the doctor, Yeah, I think that it's really important too, also to factor in family time as well. I think a lot of us, we as realtors, we experience burnout I mean, Tristan, you've seen burnout before many a times with coaching clients and individuals in the business and in the office. Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, you're right, man. You're right.
Yeah. So I would argue that it's very important to spend time on your own mind and yourself. And a big part of that, kind of linking back to what I was saying to Chuck, is spending time in the morning to, you know, journal, meditate, whatever it may be, to just kind of get yourself in that headspace.
What is
your
one of my
morning
friends
like,
on that? Well, Chuck, I'm going to answer Chuck's question. Morning or evening, doesn't matter. I agree with Mark. One person that I recently interviewed told me journaling is the least expensive form of therapy. And I thought, wait, that makes a lot of sense. It's so true. You write things out and they kind of just fix themselves out as you start to organize your thoughts and reflect back either on the previous day or reflect about what's about to happen into this day. So really good point. Alex has got a question for you. Mark, can you share an example of 2 of your daily morning routines?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a spot in my house. It's like my spot on the couch where I sit on the couch right there, and I have my morning coffee and I listen to 3 Bible verses that I'm just going through the whole Bible, the whole thing. So that's one thing of my morning routine. And number 2, I come right into this office after, and I sit down, I get everything all organized and set up, and I look and I review what I have to do for the day. And if there's anything that has come up, like, you know, maybe it's another appointment or something that's changed, I make sure that I account for that, and I get myself right in the headspace for the day, for what I have, the tasks ahead of me, and then I start. Those are 2 examples of what I do. I guess it's kind of 3 if you count the coffee. Yeah, so 3.
Yeah, that's good though, man. I like that. Oh, what is this?
Like I said, I just read a book suggesting make sure to look around and write down what you are grateful for in your life. Yeah, that's great. That's fantastic. Actually, you know what?
Yeah.
I have this book right here. It's called 2-Minute Mornings, and it's a journal to win your day every day. And it says, I will let go of, and then you write something. I am grateful for, and then you write something. And then there's, I will focus on, and there's 3 things that you focus on. Which is kind of cool. It's a cool little book. It's by Neil Pasricha, and it's called 2-Minute Mornings.
Yeah, I totally know how to spell that. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, you should. Well, look, if someone said that book here,
I'm just messing with you.
Pasricha. Well, I'm gonna spell it because not everyone's as smart as Tristan here, and they don't know how to spell it.
Exactly. Jacob's just listening in. He's like, yeah, Mark, come on. Really quick, we've gone through this before. Morning and evening routine. We've got one here for you, one that I created a while ago. But it's meditate, affirmations, record your previous day, visualize, exercise, learn, read, and then go through the evening. We can go through this on the next call. I don't want to slow down Mark on this one because he's throwing out some good stuff. Jacob, you had something to say?
Oh, I was just saying I'm moderating the chat over here.
Oh, good. I love it. All right, Mark, continue.
5-minute cold plunge. That's awesome. Jacob, you just got that cold plunge recently.
Oh,
and Todd wants to know if we can get a link for the ABT morning routine.
We can. You won't understand it if I just send it over to you. So we'll just go over it next week, but we'll have that for sure. Got it. Cool. And then the last 2, I'll touch base on these. We have a few more minutes left. And that's one is giving thanks and being grateful. I think that in life, that those who are thankful have proven to live happier lives. So I kind of have like a little exercise. Actually, it's in that routine that Tristan just mentioned. And it's writing down 5 things that you're grateful for and why you're grateful for them. Right. So, for example, I'm grateful to have a roof over my head, and why? It's because, well, I mean, I get to have a roof over my head. I get to have a place where I lay my head down. Right. Not everyone has that. That's a
That's something that's a blessing, right? I'm grateful for Tristan and Jacob. Like, they're great friends, good business partners. I'm grateful for everyone in this Zoom call, right? If there's one person in here that I can help with today, that makes me feel very grateful that I helped someone, one person or more, right?
I think with that mindset, in going into any situation, meeting, whatever it is, you start looking at the possibility of helping others better themselves instead of going in and thinking, what can I get out of this? Right? It's like, how can I enhance the life or the lives of the people that I'm about to be part of right now for the next 30 minutes to an hour? It makes sense. I like that, Mark. I like that a lot.
Yep. Yeah, and also too, I feel like one thing, like, going off of that, is like, whatever you're going through, whether it's good or it's a little tough or it's bad, try to tap into the situation and see, like, no matter what you're going through, what can we learn from this, right? What can you see yourself being thankful for out of it, right? And if it's a negative situation, you're like, Mark, this sucks. But, like, well, guess what? You're about to enter into the world of being thankful that it's over with whenever it's done.
Mark,
right?
I agree with you, but I find that in the past, and sometimes depending on the day, I have a hard time being grateful. Like, it's not natural some days. It gets super tough. So
yes,
I knew that ahead of time coming in. So what I did is I knew what I would react like in certain situations. So I created a sheet that would just try to bring me back to the state that I would like to be in, right? And I created this, and you just brought it up, so I found it. Practicing thankfulness. And I have a set of 4 questions and then a statement just to get me back into the groove, because it hasn't always been easy for me.
right.
So anyway, that's part of, you just reminded me of that. I just dumped it in there.
Nice. I love that too. And also, I think there's something to be said too about, like, let's say, for example, it's an even more difficult situation where you can't even pull up the Google Drive link to that. You can't tap into that mindset about, like, oh yeah, Mark said whatever, I don't care, I'm having a really tough time.
Yeah.
In those moments, no, I get it. I've been there. In those moments, though, I think it's really important to have almost like a fail-safe method, and that's linking a physical action with an emotional reaction. So, for example, like, think about something. I want us all to think about something that's really positive that happened to us. It could be anything. It could be the first time you ever experienced the beach. It could be the first time you ever closed an escrow. It could be your wedding day. I don't know. It could be whatever. And I want you to experience that, soak in that moment, follow it up with like an action. For me, mine's this: like, let's go, right? One fist into the other, and one fist into the hand, right? For you, it could be like a thumbs up or whatever. And when you're in that mindset of the negativity and all else fails, hit that physical action, because it will chemically react that emotion of positivity. And it might give you like a little bit of a jump start into being able to jump into that Google Doc or jump into this conversation and remember that. Okay, last one. And this, I love this one. It's kind of similar to the last one that I just mentioned, but a little different. And it's replacing the negative thoughts with positive thoughts. This could be something at the end of the day, or for Chuck in the morning when he journals, or it could be something that you also do throughout your day, right? I have a pure example. I'm going to be vulnerable here. The other day I was reflecting about something that I did a few years ago at a showing. And I was like, wow, that was like a really novice move. That was like just really like a mistake. Like I never would have done that now. I can't believe that I made that mistake. Right. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't even that big of a deal, but in me remembering it, I was like, just like, wow, like I must have looked like an idiot. Right. And then I thought to myself, I was like, no, you know what? Whatever. I have grown so much to where I would never make that mistake now. Look how much I've grown and look at how successful I am now and look at how much I've learned since then. So I just took that negative thought of not being, a good agent or messing up and replaced it with like, dude, look how much I've leveled up since then. That's amazing. And I think that's something that we should practice.
We can practice that in our, dude, it's a challenge. I don't, I just want to be realistic here too. I agree with you, but I think when we're in the middle of it, it becomes harder for us to look and be like, not be negative. So I think if we can start by being more lenient on ourselves and saying, hey, you're going to screw up, and starting the whole process from now on and saying, let's give ourselves a little bit of grace because we're going to screw up along the way. I think if we start making that part of our daily process, I think we'll be a little bit more forgiving of the mistakes that we make, because I'm not going to stop making mistakes 100%. But do I feel like shit when I make mistakes? Yes, I do. All the time. All the time. I feel bad. And sometimes the worst part is, Mark, I don't even know that I make the mistake. And that's probably the worst one. It's like, oh man. So I agree with you. I think the key would be trying to figure out how to implement this daily, just to be more aware that you're going to screw up and to be more forgiving of yourself.
I think the biggest thing that has helped me in how to start this is identifying the difference between guilt and shame. So like you mess up, like, oh, I feel guilty, I messed up. Even if it's like something that nothing to feel like, stole a cookie or whatever, but like you feel guilty about messing up for whatever it is. That's good. That means that you're on the road to better yourself. And it means you're on the road of healing. It means you're on the road of, increasing your productivity. But shame is not good. That means that you're telling yourself that you're not good enough, or that you are insufficient, or that, whatever that other negative feeling is. So I think identifying those two will really help with what you're saying about giving yourself grace and growing from that.
Yeah, I like that. All right, dude, we're at the top of the hour. Anything?
We're done. That was it. That was the 5.
Wow, that was beautiful. I love it. Next week, we're going to routines, since that came up and people wanted to talk about that. Thoughts, guys?
I'm super down.
Can you give us a quick Jacob, you good?
What does that look like real quick?
Oh, what was number 4, Mark?
Number 4 was giving thanks and being grateful.
Giving thanks and being
so writing out your visions and goals, journaling, establishing healthy habits, giving thanks and being grateful, and positive thoughts, and replacing the negative ones. Should I just send the PDF?
Yeah. Do you have a link to that?
Yeah.
Dump it in here. And while you're doing that, now that I'm thinking about this, I think replacing the words that we use, or the way that we talk to ourselves, which I'll talk about next week, I think that's key in our success with challenges that we have with those negative thoughts. It's like in the day, what are the words we're replacing our normal language with in the way we talk to ourselves, right? That's a big one. And in other words, affirmations, incantations, whatever you want to call those, but they work if you do it. Mark, let me see if it opens. Give me a second. I'm clicking it. It works. It works on my end, Jacob, or works on your end?
Yep.
Super.
All right. Thanks, guys. That was a good one. I love it. By the way, Jacob, your lighting is really good, man. I feel like you're outdoor. I thought you were outdoors until you told me earlier that you were not.
He is. He's in your backyard.
Those years of camera work paid off, I guess, right?
Yeah, I guess it's really good. All right, guys. Thanks so much.
See you guys.